Are you ready to make your life beautiful? The most helpful life standards don't come from regarded old thinkers like Seneca or Aristotle. Nor do they come from offbeat, very rich people who litter their diaries with pompous exhortation, incomprehensible to anybody outside their inward circle. Their intelligence isn't defective, however, in the event that it requires genuine investigation to get it, you'll acquire minimal utility from it. The vast majority of us do not have the time and assets to learn and consolidate their lessons into regular day-to-day existence. The most valuable, compelling, and practical shrewdness comes as sound judgment. Ralph Waldo Emerson characterizes it along these lines. Presence of mind is virtuoso wearing its working garments, Emerson. It's oversimplified in nature, so evident that once educated, you figure, how did I not sort this out previously? For what reason did it take me such a long time? 1. Saving things for exceptional events is a poorly conceived notion. On the few days of my wedding, I purchased my folks a $150 container of wine. My mother recommended we save it for the day we declare we're having a child. It required 3 years before that declaration came, and by at that point, that container of wine had vanished, likely given out at a good-for-nothing social affair or brought to an irregular gathering without the slightest hesitation. In case you're saving something for an extraordinary event, be careful, that day may never come. Life is excessively capricious. Appreciate it now. 2. In case you're against everything, you'll have little energy to be for something. It's far simpler to destroy thoughts than it is to advance your own. It's more secure to assault others' convictions than it is to put stock in something yourself. You presumably realize someone like this, a companion, or relative. They're snappy to criticize your vision yet without unique reasoning themselves. It's okay to be mindful, moderate to embrace convictions. Feel free to address statements that set off alerts. Yet the steady doubter, the person who destroys every other person's fantasies, the person who never affirms their own qualities, the person who exists only to sway their finger. Man, they are hopeless individuals. Hazardous companions make you hopeless. In my 20s, I clung to inconvenient companions who depleted me and dealt with me like poo. For eminence and personality, I did whatever important to hold those companions. From that point forward, I've discovered that it's smarter to remove yourself from companions that demonstrate risky and let go of ones that cause you hopelessness. These 3 inquiries expose the miscreants. Do they mess more up than they tackle? Amusingly, companions who brand themselves as expert issue solvers appear to make a greater number of jumbles than they tidy up. Do they siphon your energy while never offering in return? Have you ever had that companion who leeches onto you when they're in a tough situation, however then disappears from presence when you're out of luck? It is safe to say that you are more joyful when they're nowhere to be found. Attempt to fix your relationship or take a stab at removing yourself. A few kinships blossom with more modest portions. In the event that there's no answer for fixing your fellowship, it's ideal to proceed onward and make new companions. On the off chance that your everyday life energizes you, the highs and lows matter less. It occurs so frequently. A chief or authority figure abuses you. Maddened, you resolve to address the shamefulness. A couple of days pass, and your anger disseminates into acknowledgement. The equivalent occurs for euphoric occasions as well. In the event that you've ever felt the joy of a salary increase, you realize that surprisingly fast you'll return to your past degree of joy or disappointment. Regardless of whether it's the drudgery of a dreary work, the extravagances of abundance, or the injustice of life, we become accustomed to our circumstances. Yet, on the off chance that your everyday, uninteresting life brings you happiness, the highs and lows will not make any difference so much. Zero in on doing things that make the forgettable days worth living. You can't design important minutes, however you can empower them. At the point when families get together, they regularly talk about nostalgic recollections. At the point when I'm with mine, we think back about the time we ran running on empty a half-mile from a cafe and pushed our vehicle the remainder of the way. We hadn't anticipated that second, however after 15 years, it actually brings about a progression of midsection chuckles. It's the little, surprising minutes we recollect most affectionately. We can't design or anticipate them, however we can allow them to occur by investing energy with individuals we appreciate. Posing idiotic inquiries will make you a legend. Have you ever sat in a gathering, attempting to get something, needing to pose an inquiry yet staying quiet out of dread of sounding inept? I'll concede, I now and again permit that dread to defeat my great sense. At the point when it's a decision between obliviousness or shame, we pick obliviousness. All things considered, when I do call the fortitude to pose an idiotic inquiry, there's consistently at any rate one individual who tolls in, "Much obliged for inquiring." I was pondering something very similar. Considering yourself an expert adds pointless pressing factor. The moment you consider yourself an expert, you put yourself on edge. Experts should be all-knowing, gem-ball perusers. At any rate, that is the thing that we think when we're sitting opposite a customer or companion. At the point when you slap the expert mark on yourself, you need to demonstrate it, however you likewise should guard it. A few people are all right with that. I'm not one of those individuals, so I don't allude to myself as one. All things being equal, I state what I do and let my work persuade individuals I'm a professional. No, simply appearing will not make you fruitful. In the event that you appear, you have a preferable possibility of progress over the swarms who don't. You've presumably perused that pop exhortation on the web. Try not to trust it. Heaps of individuals appear. That is insufficient. The way to progress is longer than we foresee. It's loaded up with rivalry, startling difficulties, and regular fatigue. A large portion of your opposition, even those with prevalent ability, will surrender prior to intersection the end goal. To win is to stay, suffer, and outlive. The Fabian procedure, remaining in the game long enough until your foe surrenders, is the most underestimated achievement rule. It's okay to fiddle, however it's not approved to turn into an amateur. It's critical to fiddle with new pursuits as a high schooler or a youthful grown-up. It's even all right in your later years with one admonition. You would prefer not to turn into an amateur, somebody who never focuses on anything. All through my 20s and 30s, I fiddled with innumerable vocations, pastimes, and interests, however consistently surrendered when it got hard. I woke up one morning and understood my life CV was only a clear page. That is the point at which I focused on composing each day for the following 25 years. At the point when you discover a pursuit you appreciate, one that causes you to feel good, stay with it, in any event, when it gets hard, in any event, when it baffles you, in any event, when you arrive at an apparently invulnerable barrier. These life exercises may appear glaringly evident, however for me, they address just about 50 years of hard-procured information. I shouldn't be too hard on myself. As French thinker, Voltaire once said, sound judgment isn't so normal.